Listen to the Chimes by Charles Dickens. Level B1. Oxford Reading University. Part 1.
I know few people, or to be perfectly honest, no people at all, who would agree to spend a night in a church. There is something particularly frightening about the night wind. It tries all the doors and the windows with its unseen hand, looking for its way in. It flies up high till it breaks against the roof, making a horrible noise, and sets old bells in motion. And the bells that I will tell you of were indeed old. Their history went so far back in time that no one remembered the names that the priest had once given them. Yes, they were nameless, but not speechless. They had clear, loud-sounding voices, which could be heard far and wide upon the wind. Plenty of times they were heard by some poor mother watching a sick child, or some lone wife whose husband was at sea, or Toby Veck, a delivery man who stood for hours outside the church door, waiting for a job. One afternoon, he heard them ring. "Lunchtime! Lunchtime!" "There's nothing," said Toby to himself, "more regular than lunchtime, and nothing less regular than lunch. It took me a long while to realize it. I wonder whether my discovery would be worth an article in a newspaper." "Father," a gentle young voice called him. "But the newspapers are full of other discoveries," he went on, ignoring the voice. "So full that I even fear to read them." "Father," the pleasant voice repeated, "according to last week's paper, we poor people don't deserve to live. It seems as if we can't go right, do right, or be righted. I can't understand whether we are allowed to live or not. Sometimes I think we are, and sometimes not. That's a complex issue. Sometimes I can't even make up my mind whether there is any good at all in us, or whether we are born bad. We seem to give a deal of trouble. We are always being guarded against. But do we have no right to live?" "Father!" He finally heard the voice and turned to see his daughter. She was a beautiful young woman with deep dark eyes. "Meg, I didn't expect you today," said Toby. "Neither did I expect to come, Father," cried the girl, smiling. "But here I am, and not alone." Toby noticed that she carried a small box in her hand. She lifted its cover slightly. "Smell it, Father," said Meg. "It's hot," cried Toby. "Yes, it's burning hot," laughed the daughter. "Isn't it wonderful? Hurry, you must eat. There's no law against enjoying one's lunch outdoors, is there?" "Not yet, my love," said Toby. "But you know the judge. He makes up these silly laws as he goes along, and we poor folks should know them well. Aren't you going to eat?" "No, Father, I already ate in town with Richard, and he wanted me to tell you that," her voice shook, "that we won't put off our wedding any longer. We've decided to get married on New Year's Day." She waited for his reaction, but he didn't say a word. "We have been engaged for a long time," she continued. "There couldn't have been a more suitable day for us to get married than New Year's Day. Aren't you glad?" "You don't seem too glad to me," said a voice. Toby turned and saw Richard. He was a handsome, well-made, and powerful man. Toby was just about to shake his hand when the door threw open behind him. A tall man in a neat fancy suit appeared in the doorway. It was Mr. Cute, the alderman of the city. "Toby, come here," he called. "What is this? Your lunch? What have you got?" "Fried meat, sir," said Toby in a low voice. Not bad at all," laughed the alderman. "Judging by this box, you eat quite a lot. I think that you consume twice as much food as an average man. What a waste! We may as well say that you take your fried meat out of the mouths of homeless children." "I hope not, sir," cried Toby. "I'd rather die of hunger." "You see, my friend," continued the alderman, "people have been talking too much about hunger. I'm so tired of it. I think hunger will be against the law from now on. I will ban it." Then he laid his eyes on Meg. "Your daughter? What a rare beauty! Those of her kind never live a happy life." Richard got very angry, and the alderman took notice of it. "And you must be her special friend." "Yes, sir," said Richard coldly. "We are getting married on New Year's Day. Unless, of course, you ban weddings." "Incredible!" cried the alderman. He pulled Meg closer by the arm. "Dear young lady, let me teach you a lesson as a city judge. An intention to get married isn't intelligent at all. After you are married, you'll fight with your husband and he will leave you. Now, I warn you, dear, that I have made up my mind to ban lone wives. You'll give birth to baby boys who will grow up bad and run wild on the streets, and I am determined to ban bad street boys. Perhaps your husband will die young and leave you with a baby. You will lose your job, and it just so happens that I am going to ban unemployed mothers. And when you decide to kill yourself, I will ban suicide. Ha! Now we understand each other." Then it was Richard's turn to listen to the alderman's wise words. "And you? What do you want to be married for, you silly fellow? You are young and handsome. Your wife will be an old woman before you're a middle-aged man. You should live your life to the fullest and enjoy the young ladies. Go now and quit making such fools of yourselves." The unfortunate couple left without saying a word. The alderman turned to Toby. "Will you deliver a letter? Though I doubt you can do it at your age." "I'm over 60, admitted the man. "You're a great deal past the average age," noticed the alderman. "Indeed, I shall be dead by now," agreed Toby. "And keep an eye on your daughter," said the alderman. "She's way too pretty." Her beauty must have been stolen from someone too, Toby thought. Perhaps we poor people are all born bad. The bells rang again, and Toby could hear them repeat, "Ban it! Ban it!" Second quarter. The old year had performed its duty. It had lived through the round of seasons and laid down its head to die. Even the year is dying, but I, a miserable poor man, have been alive for so many years, Toby thought. He reached the door of the big fancy house of Sir Joseph Bowley. A servant led him into the master's study. "You have a letter from Alderman Cute," announced Toby. "Very well, bring it here," Sir Bowley ordered. "I respect my friend Cute, though he has no concern at all for the common folk. But I do, unlike him. They don't call me friend and father of the poor for nothing." Toby listened to him with admiration and gratitude. "My friend, you can count on my help," said Sir Bowley. "Just don't drink or eat too much. You shouldn't be too proud either. Just work hard and I will take care of you. I am aware that high feelings are not familiar to you poor uneducated men. Therefore, I surely don't need anything in return." The impressive speech almost made Toby cry, whether with gratitude or shame over his miserable life. He didn't know. Meanwhile, Sir Bowley read the letter. It spoke of Will Fern, a poor man who had been arrested the day before on Cute's order. Sir Bowley made his servant write a response letter. After that, Toby prepared to take his leave, but Sir Bowley suddenly called out to him, "My friend, tomorrow we are to enter a new year. Have you prepared properly?" Toby shook with fear. "I'm afraid, sir," his voice broke. "I happen to owe a very small amount of money to Mrs. Chickenstalker, but this year has been fairly rough." "Oh?" cried Sir Bowley. "How can you, an old gray-haired man, even sleep at night? But I do not intend to speak with you any more. Leave." "I am very embarrassed, sir," said poor Toby, but Sir Bowley had already turned his back on him. Toby hurried to get his assignment done as soon as possible. On his way home, he was deep in thought. He failed to notice a man with a child on the road running against them. The man and the child fell to the ground. "My friend, are you hurt?" cried Toby. "I am so sorry." The man stood up. By the looks of him, Toby guessed that he was poor too. "I'm not hurt," he said and smiled. "Get up, Lillian. Friend, will you tell us where Alderman Cute lives?" "I'd be happy to walk you to his house," said Toby. On the way, the man told him his story. "My name is Will Fern, and little Lillian is my niece," he began. "Poor girl lost her mother and father at the age of 9. I have come to London in search of work, but my poverty must have bothered Alderman Cute. He charged me with low-level crimes several times. So I want to explain myself to him. After all, I'm an honest man and I need a job badly, but no one agrees to hire me because of my reputation." "No," cried Toby. "You should never go to that man. He will ban you and treat you badly. You will be arrested and sent to prison forever. No, we will not allow that. Let's go to my place. My house is small and poor, but with God's help, we'll manage." "I appreciate your kindness, my friend," Will Fern replied. When they entered the house, they saw Meg crying. "The wedding was called off because of the alderman," Toby guessed. They set the table and had dinner together. Although there wasn't much food to enjoy, Toby felt that he had never eaten anything more delicious.
Part 2 is coming soon. Send this video to a friend who likes warm Christmas stories. And now, let's listen to another English audiobook.